Hello, everyone. This is Bill Wolf, President and Founder of the Space Force Association, and I'm honored today to have with us Captain Jacob Singleton. And this is a new series that we're starting. It's called Stories from the Force. And this is all the things that are going on around the Space Force in support of helping to get the word out about the Space Force, but also documenting all the extracurricular activity that's going on around the service. So, Captain Singleton, thanks so much for being with me today.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here and to chat with you a little bit about our program.
Yeah. So speaking of which, could you just explain to folks just a little bit about what you started here with the Wingman Pacer program and why you started it?
Yeah. So Wingman Race Pacers, it's a community of service members as well as their families, veterans that run. But if anybody is familiar with long distance races, half marathons, there's typically pacers there, and their job is to finish the race at a certain time. So if runners there, want to hit a personal best or beat a certain time, they'll typically look for that pacer that they know is going to be consistent and get past the finish line at that time to run with them, support them. So we developed Wingman Race Pacers because our service members, they run by condition of employment, and they run to get the mission done. And we thought, how cool would it be to not only have our service members running for our community, but also running with them. So when you come out to a race, it's a service member next to you that not only runs, as a hobby, but runs, as, part of their commitment to serve. And during the week, they're operating satellites, they're launching rockets, they're doing the mission. And how cool would it be to have them, serving as that pacing service? So we organized this group, Wingman Race Pacers. What a concept, Wingman. We help people, we support our comrades, and we bring them home. And so that's the idea behind the concept of the Wingman, and specifically this pacing group.
And how did you get into it? What was a catalyst to really get you into it? Was there any event that you said, hey, that's a great idea?
Yeah, so for me personally, I started pacing about 4 years ago. I ran a race with a pacer. He helped me get past, a personal finish goal of mine, and talked to him about his experience racing, things like that. And I thought, man, service members, their families just understand service, understand commitment, would make fantastic pacers. So I was stationed at Kirtland at the time, came back, started talking with some friends, some other runners, and we started self-organizing a group that we, decided to call Wingman Race Pacers, and we started pacing races there. We've all since PCS to different places around the country. A lot of us since then have transferred over to the Space Force as Guardians. And when they announced the Space Force was going to have their own race, the T-minus 10 mile around at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, I thought, how cool would it be if the pacers at the T-minus 10 miler were actually Guardians, service members, things like that, actually pacing at that race. So I reached out to the race directors. They loved the idea. We're thrilled and excited about it. So that's what started, at least where we're at today, in organizing a team of Guardians and service members to pace at the inaugural T-minus 10 miler at the Cape here in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's right. That's coming up very quickly. And so are you excited to get over to Cape Canaveral from the West Coast and get involved in this? And do you have a goal? And what time slot are you signing up for the 10 miler?
Yeah. So I'm personally, thrilled and excited. For a lot of us that are in the Space Force, we grew up with dreams of being astronauts and watching launches and things like that. I personally have never been to the Cape or seen a launch. So we're definitely going to take some time while we're out there to go visit Kennedy Space Center and kind of explore the area. I'm currently in Colorado Springs, so the warm weather is going to be a plus as well, in December here. So I'm super excited, not only just for me to be coming out from Colorado Springs, but we've got pacers coming out from Vandenberg, from Kirtland in New Mexico. We've even got a pacer that's doing a PhD right now up in New York that's coming down to pace the race. The DC area, Texas. So we've got, again, community coming from across the country to be pacers for this event. For me, I'm going to be pacing the 9:30, which is a nice sweet spot in the middle. A lot of people, when I talk about pacing, they say, "Oh, I couldn't do that." They run all the time, but they think, "Oh, I'm not fast enough." But really, we need pacers that are running really fast speeds, and that'll be somebody else. And then we've got pacers really on the other end, which is where we really need a lot of support, is because there may be people that don't run a lot and they're hoping to finish the race. And if they could have somebody, next to them encouraging them and helping them get along to finish at those times. So we really have pacers across the spectrum of time and finish times there to help everybody.
Oh, that's great to hear. And 9:30 sounds like a perfect time slot to be in. For folks who aren't involved in running right now, what would be a recommendation for you to help them get involved or get started in running?
Yeah, you just got to get out there and start whatever distance and whatever pace you're comfortable with, and then just continue to build up on that. I am not a competitive runner. I'd rather run 10 or 20 miles at a comfortable pace where I'm chatting next to somebody with me, rather than really pushing myself to get like that really fast 3 or 5 mile time. So I'd say, find a buddy that wants to go out with you and just start running. If you want to start pacing, I think really people think, oh, you have to have a huge just history of running to start pacing. You really don't. And I found that service members, their families, they make great pacers. And some people that have only run a couple of races may start pacing and really enjoy it. So it's something that, I think a lot of people would enjoy doing. Typically for pacers, if you'll run a little bit slower than you might be running for, a competitive time or running on your own, so that you're at a comfortable, consistent pace where you can support and chat with other people. For a half marathon, that's typically 10 to 15 minutes slower, maybe than your normal finish goal time. Up to a marathon, maybe it's 20 or 30 minutes slower than what you would typically be trying to run. So yeah, if you're new to running, grab a buddy, start wherever you're comfortable. I like running outdoors. The scenery always helps. But if you're interested in pacing, then start running, and then look at times that may be a little bit more comfortable where you could be supporting other people. And we're absolutely interested in growing our own community of pacers. You don't have to be a guardian or an airman. We've got soldiers and others that run with us. So we're absolutely interested in growing that community and looking for more pacers wherever you're at.
That's great. How important is it, as you're getting involved in physical activity, to have a goal to set for yourself so that you can do the training so that you can accomplish your goal? How important is goal setting in what you're doing?
Yeah, I would say it's a critical piece. You don't accomplish things by chance or luck. It takes intentional goal setting and practice. And it's impossible to land where you want if you haven't had a kind of a vision or goal established in front of you to work towards. And I know that's the case for running. Even when you have a goal, it's difficult sometimes. But if you get rid of that goal, then there's no reason to get out of bed early or schedule the time that you need to actually accomplish those. So absolutely critical. And it takes a wingman and, a friend to support you in those goals as well, to be aware of them and to do it with you, or at least to follow up and ask you how you're doing with those goals.
Well, what a great opportunity for folks to get out and be part of the inaugural Space Force T-minus 10 miler taking place at Cape Canaveral here in a very short amount of time. If you didn't sign up or register for this year, make sure you put on the calendar for next year, because as you said, it's a great opportunity for folks to get down to the Southeast, enjoy some of the phenomenal weather that's going on down there. How much does weather play into events like this?
Yeah, I will say December time, you can find races that you're running through snow and cold weather, but it takes a special kind of person to do those. I think the T-minus 10 miler, it's in December because that's the birthday of the Space Force. So what a great time to gather the community to celebrate the Space Force, as well as at a location that has a rich history of space launch, for several decades. So we're definitely looking forward to the warm weather. If you're going out to the race, you'll see our Pacers at a tent outside the packet pickup at the Race Expo. Feel free to chat with us about the event, the pacing, anything like that. I will say that we're super excited to be, working with the Space Force Association and Bill for your guys' help, because our Pacers, this is, again, it's completely volunteer. We've got people flying out from around the country just to pace, just to run the race. And so we've got some great, bright green T-shirts to help us stick out for people to see who we are during the run. And, we appreciate partners and sponsors like the Space Force Association to help us cover some of these things to really make it possible.
I really appreciate that, sir. Yes, when you reached out, it was a real easy decision for us to help support your initiative and what you're doing. For folks that are going to be attending the race, look for the Space Force Association booth set up as well. We'll have the Space Coast chapter of the Space Force Association there in force, helping out with the event. And we look forward to seeing you all out there here in just a couple weeks. Thanks again, sir, for your time today. Any last words for our audience as you get ready to face the T-minus 10 miler?
I would just say it's always better to run with a wingman. Thanks, Bill.
All right. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.